Hey guys, it's been a little while, but we are back at it. My guest tonight is a talented and versatile actor whose career spans decades across film and television, from his breakout roles in Romeo and Juliet and The Thin Red Line to his critically acclaimed performance as Bunchy on Ray Donovan. He has consistently delivered memorable and compelling performances. Tonight, he's joining us here to talk to us about the latest project he's in, Armor, an intense action thriller starring Sylvester Stallone and Jason Patric, where he takes on yet another exciting and dynamic role. You can catch Armor in theaters, on digital, and on demand starting Friday, November 22nd. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Dash Mihok. Uh, first, man, thank you so much for taking the time to do this, and very excited to talk about Armor and obviously you and your incredible career, man. You've been doing it for quite a while now. How's the experience been for this one?
For this movie,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. No offense to anyone, but I didn't even know it was coming out till about 3 weeks. I mean, I knew it was coming out, but I didn't know when. Till about 2 or 3 weeks ago, or whenever they dropped the trailer, and I was like, oh, And that's the good thing is you just if you're waiting on something, that you're not doing your job. So I was pleasantly surprised, I'm proud of what we did. I think it's a fun one, and obviously, I got to work with a legend and a lot of amazing people and amazing crew. Some of which I worked with before, but it was a blast, and I lost a lot of water weight.
Outstanding. Yeah, so a bit about us, so this is a live internet show and it's all military veterans. So we're good with guns, we're good with explosives. We were used to that stuff. And
Well, you
obviously
could tell me where if I was slipping or not, because I trust me. It's like I'm very keen. I could take an M1 apart and put it back together in 20 seconds. You know, t 30 years ago, 20 something years ago. But if I'm slipping, y'all got to tell me because I'm happy to hear it and
Oh, we'll touch on that. I'm kidding.
oh,
Real quick, just because I know before we really dive into Armor, in your career you've played a lot of police and military, first responders, kind of like all across the gamut. Um, do you have a military connection? I know you were born in the city in New York City, as I was as well, and big family guy. But I'm just curious if there's any military or law enforcement background in the family.
my father and um, I didn't post on social media on Veterans Day, which like kills me, whatever. My father was in the Navy. He went to Korea. He was actually a medical corpsman on a destroyer for many moons, and his my grandmother lied and signed him up when he was 16. And he went out and did that and joined the Navy to see the world. And what did he see? He saw the sea. But but he,
Hey,
he, he was a
well,
he was a great, yeah. So but no, my military experience has been either with the police trying to rough me up in my neighborhood or on set. And at this juncture, I mean, I've played everything from parajumper to I mean, whatever. I mean, doing a parajumping school is real, and every boot camp you can imagine. I feel like I've gotten as close to feeling like what it feels like as I can. I'm glad that I didn't have to, and respect to everyone who in their service. I always try to. I mean, that's my heart is like I try to do you right, and I know I don't know if I could ever, but if I can create that to the level that seems comparable slightly, then that's what I'm trying to do because of the respect for it. I mean, I take things meticulously. So, uh, this one was I haven't done in a while, so you all could tell me like, yo, what were you doing when you went up there and shot the thing? And I was like, yo, listen, we had
Uh,
to shoot, and I'll blame it all on Sly was here. Put it on him.
Right, right. Well, I've seen the movie. I can say there were no glaring instances where I was like, "Come on, man, what are you doing?" Like, finger discipline, the trigger discipline, and all that. You did pretty good. I give you a passing grade, man. You did great.
A B.
Um, we won't spoil anything in the movie, but when you took the taser to the neck, I thought, man, I remember being in that situation, man. I've taken a taser or two, and it's
Somebody asked me that. They were like, "What was that?" And I was like, "I think that's the first time I've been tased." So that was tough. But if
yeah.
you said it and you've taken it and that was okay, then
Yeah, no, no, you did. They cut away right at the right time, but you didn't crap your pants or anything like that. So you're doing good. You're doing great.
uh,
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 so we love talking about pop culture on this show, specifically, and it's great because it runs the gamut from movies, TV, video games, collectibles, music, anything can be pop culture, right? So I always like to ask when I'm getting to know someone, like, what is it that you geek out about, right? Outside of your chosen profession, what do you geek out about?
um, I geek out about um, when my kids come to play doing my kids play piano and violin and they say when my kids are 11 and 8 and that's where I'm at in my life, so I kind of geek out like when we go and do a performance somewhere like or a charity event um and I'm not worried, but like they come correct in front of people, and then I'm like, all right, you got to show Daddy's DNA. And I'm like, I geek out on that. I geek out on, um, I don't have like, I'm not a favorites kind of person, but I geek out on moments in life. I
That's
geek out
awesome.
like no matter what, like things are in order, even when they don't feel that way, or when people like I just lost my dog and I
Mm,
just lost this and that, like things are going awry or whatever, and I geek out on being in awe sometimes,
sure.
the universe, like because I feel like that's a stimulating way to be, and I'm responsible for as much as I possibly can be. And I know this is super foo-foo, but I don't have like I can't tell you, yo, I'll tell you, no, I'm lying. I'm lying. You know what I'm geeking out on? And I'm a shamelessly plug because I have it in the background.
Go for it.
This. Have you ever seen LMS?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm geeking out on that because I'm going to produce that with my boy Leo DiCaprio's company, Appian Way, and we're going to make that a Marvel Universe. So there's the plug. Done.
There you go. No, hey, listen, I mean, I know, maybe not a lot of people know that besides being an actor, I know you're musically inclined, you do photography, you dance, like you are a man of many, many talents. So the
Oh,
fact
the
that
45-minute interview gives you the right to call me out on dancing. Oh, I
I
love it.
mean, come
I,
on. You know what? There's no shame in it. No shame in it whatsoever.
I love it.
I love it. It's great. And I think so that it just speaks a testament to the fact that, if you can be in awe and geek out over the moment when you have so many passions and hobbies and creative outlets, that's incredible, man. I love to hear it. Uh, we could talk for days. I mean, for everything from Romeo and Juliet to The Perfect Storm, Day After Tomorrow, like Ray Donovan. I mean, dude, you've done so much. I mean, I'm a huge nerd, so Punisher,
All nerds.
Warzone.
Like if we're
Uh,
not we're nerds, then what like if you're not a fan of something or what I don't know, fan isn't the word, but if you're passionate about things like I appreciate you. And I'm the same way. I don't have as many since you do this all the time, you can zero in on what it is, and I'm kind of like okay, yeah, yeah, but I gotta go pick up my kids and take them to you know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely, man. No, I love it, and I love the fact that you share that passion with your kids. I have a 7-year-old, so I
Oh,
totally get it.
boy,
Totally
girl.
get it. Boy, he's a boy, crazy kid, jujitsu and
Listen,
scouts and all the
love it,
stuff.
love it. That's
It's the
fantastic.
best. It's the best. So I gotta ask you about let's talk about Armor a bit because
Okay.
I mean it's a classic action thriller setup, right? There's high tension, there's personal stakes. Like when you get attached to a project like this, what is it that draws you to it? Like what is it about your role in the film that gets you kind of excited for it?
I mean, when I read this, and after doing a lot of interviews, right, I get bored with hearing my own voice, and I don't like to say bullet points. But obviously, the truth is, it's like, oh, you're gonna work with Sly,
Yeah,
um, who I respect in all the forms, writer, director, actor, So, and here's a part where you get to establish or try to establish if it comes across because it's obviously cut quickly and it's an action movie, it has to stay action. But I'm like, when I see that, I go character. These guys have a lot of history, and you can make a lot of history in little moments in one line. And how do we figure that out? And that's the tech guy in me that goes, yo, this is how we can do it. And so that was super exciting to get to be on par with his, you know, within character. And then, like, of course, I'm going to learn stuff as I learn stuff from everything I ever do. I learn stuff right now. I'm learning from you. You know what I mean? So I am. I'm. I haven't done a bunch of interviews in a hot minute, so I'm learning from everybody that I'm talking to, which is the
sure.
best. Uh, but obviously, it's like that coupled with being the character that I get to play and having him. I could feel his vibe early on in trusting me how to how to play it and knowing that I would bring what I what I would and on set us, sharing what we think and how we think things could go better and faster because we didn't have a lot of time.
Sure.
It's a huge part of it all. And yeah, it was also at the tail end of the strike. It got a waiver, so that was a whole crazy time. But I was like, I'm gonna go work again, and then I'm not only gonna work, I'm gonna go work in like Samurai Lion style, like with all this gear and the heat and do it whatever. And I forgot about that a little bit how, but uh, it was about a tenth of the amount of days. Uh, but that was fun, man. It was fun. It's just fun to get to be around. I love movies. I love families. There was a lot of people on set that I'd actually worked with before. It's weird to me that I've been doing this so long that people are like, yo, remember when we did it? I'm like, yo. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. And if I remember people's names, I'm like, yes. But I just knew it would be a fun process, but it's always a there's always a shadowy feeling before you get in there, and you're like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Like flying into Mississippi and getting my Airbnb, and in the middle of the night going up to this thing on stilts where I had to find a key and key in and go like, the dude right there might shoot me right now, and not because, not to be like whatever, but I didn't know like, and
Sure.
there and not because I'm like a New Yorker being, and then the next day finding out that that guy across the way is a singer who sings like Elvis and like connecting with his whole family while being on a house on stilts in Mississippi shooting a movie with Sylvester Stallone. What's That's the best thing
What a
that happened
life.
in my life.
I mean, so you're saying after all this time, do you still get like the butterflies? You still get like the anxiousness before hitting that first day?
Yes. And sorry if I'm super pontificating, but yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't know who you're dealing with. You never know who uh, is going to unless you're directing. If I'm directing, then I know what I'm doing. And in this case, like I come from that brain, so I want to direct, but like, yeah, no, of course I get butterflies. I'm flying into some place I don't know. I don't even know where I'm staying. I don't know how the bed's going to be. I don't know. I probably won't get a lot of sleep. I'm going to go in. I don't know the makeup artists, and we're going to do whatever we do. And I'm going to go out there and sweat my balls off. And who's going to take care of me? And are the actors going to be cool? Or are they going to say what? You never know.
Right.
And if you don't have that, uh, call it insecurity, which I think we all have, then, I think most any uh, big star would say the same thing. And if they don't, then they're insulated, you know?
They've got their people. And you made a comment earlier that I really stuck to, and that was that, you know, in a movie like this, there's not so much exposition and background on who the bad guys are, right? And where they come from and these things. And so a lot of it has to be in your performance. Feeling who's comfortable with who and who's on whose side and who cares about who. I mean, is that something that you kind of touched on it a little bit, but did you really work it out with the team, or was that something like in the moment we're just feeling it and we're going?
That was something that I work out in my head, that I want to do always. And then, like we all do in life, like I got this plan, and then other personalities are always going to throw you, and you have to be able to work with whatever you're given and be flexible. And that's the thing. I tell that to my family all the time. I'm like, life, especially now, it's like you. Sadly, we have to be flexible. You can't plan it out. You can't, and if you want to be in this business, you cannot plan it out. So, I had a vision of me going even deeper with Sylvester. That's the first time I called him Sylvester. Um, but every moment that we had where I could add something to it, or we talked about adding something to the underneath, especially in something like this it's like almost guerrilla shooting. Uh, I would I would try, and so that's my come from. I mean, there's no, you can't control. I mean, even if you can't, you can't control the elements. You can't control everything. The You can control what you can control and try to control it as much as you can, because we're all right about what we think it's going to be. But then you have to work with everybody's personalities, etc. So again, since you have 45 minutes, I'm pontificating.
Please, no, hey, dive deep, man. Go for it. Dig deep, bring it all up. Uh, the, this is a movie that's, like I said, packed with like really, suspenseful scenes and there's a lot of action involved and complex. I can imagine complex choreography and stunts. Like, At one point, you're climbing all over, like the thing's tipped over and you're climbing all over it. Do you remember like any like I don't know, really challenging moments on set or just complex things you had to do? Anything that sticks out from that shoot?
Yeah, and I'll try to get back to bullet pointy type of thing, speak rather, but e- everything is everything is challenging when like I'd like to say like there's a when you're on mostly a one set thing like on this bridge, there's utter chaos and there's containment, and they both work for and against each other. You know what I mean? So you're trying to get what you know you need to get, uh, and it's also a little bit chaotic. I mean, getting tased was not that difficult. Like lighting the dude on fire, making sure everybody was okay. But then there's like the shots where you're like, so over here we were like continuity
Mm,
was more difficult to an extent because we're like, wait, you were over here and we're trying to pick this thing up, and that's not going to match. And you can't cut away when you're on one uh, set and you have the circumference that you're shooting in, because if you're looking the wrong way, that's gone. And that's the same for Sly, who came in because he wasn't there the whole time, and had not you know, but we didn't have him the whole time, so there were times that we had to have a placement, so I had to explain where he was in the shot, which she totally understood, and we had to figure that out. Those are the harder parts and more boring parts that your viewers probably just want to hear me go, yeah, when I was shooting this thing, honestly, yeah, it was hard there were a few things when I'm like with weapons and weaponry, and when they're like, we're not gonna really shoot stuff,
mhm.
which I agree with, that I'm like, okay, so if I'm not shooting a real weapon, having to, always having to have kickback, having like, how would that look? And me really wanting to get into like, what would it be like if you were shooting this type of weapon? And I'm gonna look stupid, and you're gonna put it in VFX. That was probably the hardest stuff.
Okay,
Like I shoot and I'm like, I don't think that was right, and we don't have time to like for me to nitpick over it. You know what I mean?
sure. No, listen. I assumed. I know, given the certain situations that are happening in Hollywood, and trying to get away from the more dangerous elements of shooting, even things like blanks can go awry. So, me, someone who has firearms experience, can tell, yes, when it's visual effects. But given that I'm also, I love passionate about movies and shows, and I thought it was really well done. I think it's as close to simulated firing of a weapon as you can possibly get. So
Yeah, but
kudos
you
to
have
the
to sell
team.
it. You have to sell it.
Yeah, exactly,
And,
exactly. And
and for me, that done so many military movies that's the most important thing. And I don't think we had the time to do it precisely. So apologies to anybody if did it.
we take no offense. We take no offense. You tried. That's the best you can do. And speaking again, talking about all the different roles you've played, I mean, just a diverse set of roles across genres. When you're, looking at something like this, like performing in an action film, like how do you mentally prepare differently? Do you physically prepare differently? What goes into gearing up for something like that?
Um, I mean, I'm 50, so you have to physically prepare a little bit, but
Lots of stretching.
I, uh, before, after, before bed, all the time. I'm
Yeah.
6'3". I have to. Uh, I don't think you can ever fully mentally prepare until you assess the the crew, the environment, the what you're dealing with, the again the amount of time, who what the personalities are, who you're so I I just prepare all the things that I want to do, that I think I want to do, that I think are good, and then again be flexible in terms of I'm open to however we're going to make this work. And then it's still like you said, you come on set and you're like, okay, first day it's still first day of school. Doesn't matter how old you are, how many times you've done it, you're still walking in like,
Who's the
okay,
cool kids?
yeah, or yeah, and who are your allies and who are whatever, and how do I get myself into, and the greatest thing is remembering that everybody else is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
The thing. It's like, you can come on after they've been working for a month, maybe, but this is not like that. If everybody's working for a month and you come on and you, you might be a breath of fresh air. Who knows? But I'm always just like peeping everybody's vibe out, and then you mold the clay.
I like that. I like that. The first day of school analogy works too. Like, got to figure out where the cafeteria is, man. That craft services. Got
Yeah, and it was not on the bridge, and yeah, and I don't want to ask for another bottle of water, but could I get another bottle of water?
You don't want to be a diva? Come on, man. That's part of the gig, right? You get to be a diva.
No, I mean, it's all personalities. I wish I was more of a diva.
Come on, that New Yorker's got to come out of you, man. You
And
lost
then
you
the
lost
New
your
Yorkers
edge.
say, yeah,
I like
diva.
it. Uh, when you're doing something like this, we touched on it a little bit, stretching and all these things. Like, there's a lot of physicality in a role like this, right? Because you're running, pushing, shoving, shooting, jumping, climbing, all these things. Do you ever get ready in a way where you're like, well, I'm going to do some training? Because I know, like, in some of the bigger budget roles where they're like, hey, we're going to send you to boot camp and things like that. For something like this, do you prep uh I don't know, like go to a shooting range? Do you get into a jujitsu gym or something? Like, how do you get ready for yourself physically before you
Uh,
get to set?
I won't lie to you on this one. Again, middle-aged and what I have going on at home, um, I don't want to blow up the spot, but my wife is just surviving cancer, and like there's a lot of things going on at home.
Mm,
And something like this that got away with at the end of the strike, uh, I don't have the leisure to like be like, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym and train for this. So I kind of just jumped in. I mean, and my bones are old a little bit. If you were to talk about training, I like to hike and I try to swim, and uh, I wish I could go to a shooting range, but if I did that and I got there to what we were, I would have been like, why the hell did I do that? You know what I mean? Because I
fair.
get know what it's going to be like. It's going to be, because it always is, no matter how big the movie is, it's usually a big F, you know what I mean?
Mm,
And so you got to figure it out on a thing. But like, and I'm just not at that stage of my life where if I was a younger man who was single, I would be like, and and then I would get there and have to deal with the same thing that I'm dealing with now.
mm,
And I know how to handle it better in telling them, like, I'm sorry that you trained for all this, but this is how it's going to go in order to get this shot.
mm.
That makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the flip side.
No, I appreciate the candor and the honesty. We're just two dudes. We're just old dudes just shooting the shit, man. We're just gabbing
Whatever.
here. Uh is there any, like, and again, I know you're a busy guy, and sometimes I can imagine the work blends together, but is there any particular scene or moment from this movie that you're excited for people to see? Like something where you're like, oh, wait till they see that, you know?
Why don't you tell your viewers you watched it?
I mean, I have my opinions. Like, sorry, he made me laugh.
I mean,
Uh,
let's not get it twisted. We can't share it, can we? Really?
I mean, that's true. We can't reveal too much. That's
Can't
why I
really
said,
reveal. You know what it is.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna see if I can get you to say it. I did.
Well,
You get a shot in the neck with a taser. We'll leave it at that.
shot
I,
in the neck with a taser
that
was
was
the
that looked
and I
fun.
and I pull out on a few people and you know
Yeah, you handle your
but
business.
yeah and I wanted to have a more of a tussle with Jason Patric than we had to, but uh uh that water was a little sketchy.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that, but I don't, I want to leave people in suspense. They got to see it, and then we'll circle back to it one day. So obviously you've been in the big action movies. We've talked about it, Day After Tomorrow and all these different things. But you've also been in like really like deeply emotional projects routed in the character and I think like Ray Donovan and things. How do you decide like where you want to be? Is there a specific genre that you prefer or that you're pulled to? Like, give us some of your thought process.
uh, my thought process through all of it is that I just want to do more rom-coms where I'm having sex with more women. Um,
Yes.
kidding.
Yes.
But
No,
I have
I'm with you.
never seen. Uh, honestly, I just like to. I feel like the universe is in order. I like to do the rainbow, and I truly I do. I want to play a villain. I want to play somebody who makes you laugh, somebody who makes you cry. I would love to, you know, I think I have a pretty great English accent. I wish they would hire me for some BBC show.
Sure.
I feel like I just want to do everything in this career, and nothing is out of bounds. It just has to be good. I'm obviously, uh, by result, pigeonholed in some ways, um, which I would love to get out of. Probably not doing myself a favor with my candor today, but I'm not making a play for King Arthur right now. But
Right.
I just I really there's nothing that I want to do except it be good, and I've done things that I'm really proud of and things that I'm not so proud of, and
Things that you've learned from, right? We don't bad mouth it. There's always a learning experience, right? If it's either
you
good or
tell
you
me
learn from it.
what are things that you want to do?
Oh, okay. I want to. Hey,
You're
I'm
talking a
doing what I
whole
want.
lot, and I usually like to ask the question.
Hey, that's right. This is about you, man. And again, I was looking through, your
Are you trying to get out? What do you want to do?
what do I want to do? I want to continue interviewing amazing people. Listen, I'm a nobody, right? I'm just a guy
I-
who I
That's right.
love movies. I love TV, and I'm the guy that buys the DVD, watches the movie, but then watches the director's commentary, watches the making of featurette, watches the bloopers because I'm so enthralled by what you do and just the movie making magic, right? More than just what ends up on the screen, but the incredible amount of work that happens behind it, right? I've talked to the grips, I've talked to the PAs, I've talked to the
That's who you talk to.
that everybody, because I find it so what you guys do in bringing joy, in bringing realism, in holding up the mirror to society, like to all these different aspects of the career. It's incredible what you guys do. And as much as
Speak for yourself, dude. You're a reflection. No, 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 no. Look, you can't be involved in that and do what you do without being a part of it. So it's like don't isolate yourself. You obviously, and you are a
Appreciate it.
catalyst for all of it. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
Absolutely.
miles
Nah,
on.
that's nice. It's like it's not about me. Nobody's here.
It's
Trust
about,
me.
yeah, you
My
know, but that's the problem. It is about you. And if it wasn't about you, you wouldn't be doing this because your face is on camera all the time. And so this is the way to be about you, and that's cool. I love that. I give respect and high praise, and you're courageous. I wouldn't be able to do that every day.
I was gonna say, people are sick of me talking about myself. That's for sure. That's why we that's why I bring people like you in. You're interesting. You're
If they're following you, then they're not disinterested.
that's a fair point. That's a fair point. As we start to wind down, because I don't want to hold you any longer than you've agreed to, and you've been so kind and honest and open. I love it. I'm curious when I speak to someone such as yourself who's had such a storied career, has been doing it for a while now. Again, I don't want to date anybody here, but you've been in the
30
game for a
years.
minute. You've been in the game a minute. How has your approach to acting changed over the years, right? From Romeo and Juliet, Thin Red Line, all the way to Ray Donovan and now Armor. Like, how has your approach to the game changed?
Um, you have to, my belief, if you know, these are tough questions, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate doing interviews again because I haven't in a while because it makes you reflect. And I'm older now, and my feeling is, you know, my approach is different via my experience and my current state. You know, I keep telling people like, look, I'm midlife and I have an 11 and an 8-year-old, and that changes everything. And whatever you're going through with your family and elderly, whoever, your friends, your life, your beliefs, that's one thing. The business is changing, and it has changed. Obviously, I mean, I kind of into doing a self tape because I get all geeky on it, like really geeky, but that's not always a good thing per se because you can get in your head about it. But that's what people have to do since the pandemic, which is interesting because it forces people to look at it a different way. Um, the way people are hired is the same in that you never know what someone wants or what the entities that are hiring want or what the corporation wants or what and I'm not putting onus on any of it. But again, the flexibility of like the world is changing and it is a lot in social media and all, and reality is shifted depending on your perception. So you got to ride with that. So I'm just trying to, you know, dare I say, like an actor say, be present, but
Mm.
it ain't easy um, to be present because your present is different depending on what you have going on and your vibe with your where your heart is and what's important to you. And as you get older, I feel for me, um, it is shifted in good ways and more challenging ways. And the more wisdom you have, sometimes the more difficult it is depending on I have Tourette syndrome and OCD and stuff like maybe, who knows? But I put all into account if I'm going to answer something like that because my favorite thing is like, I don't know what I don't know. I know that I love people. I know that I love to do this and this in this moment and this day. And I know I love to write this song in this night. And I know I love to go to set in this day. And I prepared in this way. And I'm going to get flipped on and do so. It's not going to work. And this person's going to have this. And I just do my best to make people feel visible and and make sure that I'm not invisible to myself, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. We didn't get a chance to touch on it, but I want to thank you because I know you're such a passionate, advocate and speaker for mental health. I'm somebody who, because of my time in war, I suffer from PTSD and social anxiety. So hearing when you get to hear some of the people that you see on TV and see in movies and you go, oh, they're people and they experience things too. And we can connect on more than just, oh, you did that thing and I loved it, but you're also a person and you have things that you face. And the fact that you open up and you share about it, I think is an incredible thing and a powerful thing. So I do thank you for that.
I thank you for that, and I would ask you more questions because I honestly just care about like what's going on in your life. I swear, like that's just who I am, and whatever it is, like
Absolutely.
I do these interviews. But what's the most important thing is like, how you doing today? And you know, you're a vet. Like, how are you doing today? Uh,
Absolutely.
we're all veterans of something. You know what I mean? So,
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Let me ask you one last question, then we'll let you go. Um, Given that we've talked about your extensive career, is there any role or is there any type of story that you had? Because I know you've done the directing and the acting. What do you
uh,
want to do, man? What's left? What's left on the bucket list, man? What are you gonna get done? What's next?
um, what's next is well, there's a bunch of things. What's next? I just formed a new company, production, tech, bunch of stuff that will take its time to form. But I'm I don't love being a producer, to be honest, because there's a lot of stuff that I continuously find that is troublesome. Uh, but and that's not my forte, but I'm proud to do that because I feel like what's missing is again the personal relationships with people, understanding where everybody's come from is, even in business, even when you're trying to close a deal or whatever. Like you got to understand where everybody's come from is how they operate from their history and what you can do to be the trampoline. All right. That being said, I have two projects I want to direct. One's like a young, really cool story about the first kid that was exposed to be kidnapped in New York in 1979 named Eton Patz, and how that changed the whole landscape of New York's helicopter parenting, the
Mm.
NYP, and I have experience with that. Uh, but that's one of many. And yeah, I'm gonna drop a couple new songs. I got a song with my daughter called "Too Slow" that I hope is gonna be on this next thing, the next miniseries. I'm just trying to be a good father and
Keep him
listen.
busy, man. God bless. Oh, I
You.
wish you all the success, man. You deserve it. I want to thank you for your time. We can't forget to put go check out Armor. It's gonna be in
November
theaters,
20th.
on digital, on demand, November 22nd. Dude, you're an incredible dude, and I hope our paths cross again in the future. I want to thank Dash. I'll give you the last few seconds. You can say goodbye to the audience, and then we'll call it a wrap.
Um, I just want to say thank you. I didn't know we were going to have 45 minutes, and you let me obviously. Uh, this was very cathartic for me, and I appreciate it. And I hope we talk again. And to all your squad and the vets, thank you for your service. Happy Veterans Day. And it's hard for me to plug anything, but you guys, because I appreciate everything. And if you all want to holler at me, I'm the worst social media replier, but Diz Mihok on anything you could find me at. And when I have a moment other than taking my kids to a rehearsal for Annie in an hour, I'll holler back.
Outstanding, man. Hey, this has been Dash My Hook. I want to make sure I say that correctly. Check him out on all the things. Look out for future profit projects. Follow him on socials, and we'll love to have you back on the show in the future, man. All the best to you, bud.
Likewise, my friend.